If Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he should stop threatening democracy.
I mean, like, just listen to this. This is the equivalent of victim shaming. Like, how dare Donald Trump be a victim in his own assassination attempts? How dare he play the victim? How dare we feel bad because somebody's shooting actual real bullets at a former president? Like, how dare he just be a victim in his own assassination attempts? He's not even playing victim. It's victim shaming on a whole new level, and it's crazy. Like, some people say, oh, the assassination attempts, they're fake. Well, why do you think they're fake? Because they missed them. What? Welcome back to Quality TV. I'm your host, Qua. Quality TV is the channel that you're on right now. And in this video, we got to talk about the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump. This is the second one. I want to really bring light to what he had to say after speaking out on the second attempt and what many Democrats had to say. I want to talk about the would-be assassin, who he is, and bring some light to some information about him. I'll show you guys what both of those assassination attempts had in common. But without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Former President Trump is speaking out about the second attempt on his life in just 9 weeks. During an interview on X, he recalled the moment when bullets started flying.
So I was playing golf with some of my friends. It was on a Sunday morning, and very peaceful, very beautiful weather. Everything was beautiful. It was a nice place to be. And all of a sudden we heard shots being fired in the air, and I guess probably 4 or 5. And it sounded like bullets, but what do I know about that? But Secret Service knew immediately it was bullets. And they grabbed me. He didn't exactly hit the target the way he wanted. There's something going on. I mean, perhaps it's God wanting me to be president to save this country.
Trump is pointing.
It sounds kind of weird, or I think he kind of got a point. Maybe he got a point. That's a whole nother conversation for a different day. We can really go into that conversation, but there's a lot of things that's going on in this country that I'm sure God doesn't agree with. And most of those things, a majority of those things, Republicans don't agree with them either. So maybe it is God. I don't know.
Anger at Democrats over their incendiary rhetoric.
You know, this was the second attempt in your life in under 2 months. What do you make of that?
Well, there's a lot of rhetoric going on.
Right.
A lot of people think that the Democrats, when they talk about threat to democracy and all of this, and it seems that both of these people were radical lefts.
Here's my thing with this. So no matter how much the world hates Trump, how much the Democrats hate Trump, Trump says a lot of BS, granted, but when he's talking trash, he's not really making threats. A lot of people call him racist. I really don't see where the racism is. He doesn't really speak violently at all. He'll talk some trash. He'll get his point across. Yeah, but when it comes to speaking violently or wishing violence on somebody, I almost never see that from Trump. But on the other hand, the Democrats, it's always violent. And I want you guys to pay attention to some of these clips in this video, and then you'll see what I mean.
However, the liberal media says Trump, the victim's rhetoric, is actually the problem.
The actual violence we're seeing comes much more disproportionately from MAGA themselves.
The former president certainly could do a lot to make himself safer, to make it less likely that people would become radicalized to this point. After the first assassination attempt, Donald Trump said he was going to adopt a different tone.
If Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he should stop threatening democracy.
In terms of rhetoric, do you think Donald Trump in the Trump campaign, do you think they have a problem with rhetoric as?
I mean, like, just listen to this. this is the equivalent of victim shaming. How dare Donald Trump be a victim in his own assassination attempts? How dare he play the victim? How dare we feel bad because somebody's shooting actual real bullets at a former president? Like, how dare he just be a victim in his own assassination attempts? He's not even playing victim. It's victim shaming on a whole new level, and it's crazy. Like, some people say, oh, the assassination attempts, they're fake. Well, why do you think they're fake? Because they missed them. What? Because they missed? That doesn't mean it wasn't real. On the first assassination attempt, Donald Trump did not die. But let's not forget, somebody did die. A mother lost her husband, and this guy had 2 daughters, and they lost their dad. Is that not real? So the assassination attempt was fake because Trump didn't die, but somebody did die.
No, and I don't. I think especially in light of the fact that there has now been a second assassination attempt on the life of President Trump, I do not believe so. What we are seeing now is that you do have radical elements of the Democrat Party.
Donald Trump
and Hillary Clinton shockingly argued that the media isn't doing enough to paint.
And Hillary Clinton is the worst. I think she's still salty because she lost in the first election with Donald Trump. Maybe she's a little salty. Just listen to how she speaks about this man. To me, this is worse than Donald Trump has ever spoken. But
Trump as the threat.
I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The late, great journalist Harry Evans, one time...
how dangerous Donald Trump is. He's the one being shot at. Who's dangerous? Is it...
said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump, his demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it.
So she was up there smiling, like she just wanted to smile, like evil, but Donald Trump is the threat.
Brian, Hillary wants us to talk about how dangerous Trump is when she is the one being dangerous at a time when Politico, this quote stuck out to me, the 2024 presidential election is taking place at a time when the U.S. is facing the most complex, dynamic, dangerous threat environment I've experienced in the 40 plus years I've been working in law enforcement. That's a former senior Homeland Security, intelligence and counterterrorism official. And she had the audacity to go on primetime television last night and call Trump a danger.
Well, she's deranged since 2016. I mean, there's no question about it. She still thinks that the Russians gave him the election, although she paid for the dossier that launched that 2.5-year lark that you had to be a part of, and that the whole country was distracted from. And 2.5 years, Trump had to verify that he was actually the president of the United States. We, as a country, we now acknowledge he won in 2016. She is still not over it. But the one thing that I am astounded by is I'm looking at Peter Baker, who wrote a good book about George Bush. He could be fair at times. He is actually, him and Lester Holt have named the assassination and then blamed Trump. They cite the assassination and then blame Trump for it. They don't see anything on the other side that leads to this. Democracy is over. Our last election, this is Hitler. He wants to be a dictator.
And these are all things that they said about Trump. Baby Hitler. Threat to democracy, Project 2025. He's going to ban abortion. He's going to do this. He's going to... We forget that Donald Trump has been here already. He was the president already. Did any of that happen then? No, it did not. So I honestly feel like these assassination attempts are due to the Democrats and the way they speak about Trump and how they make everybody seem he's evil. This guy was just almost killed for the second time in 3 months, but they're on primetime television saying that he is the one that's dangerous. Make that make sense to me. I don't understand. I just don't get it.
Those are the things that incite this type of anger, and that's the rhetoric. But how do you blame Trump for that? It's incredible to me.
And
on the next day.
Speaking of some of that language that analogizes Trump to Hitler, I think our viewers need to re-see this. This was pre-assassination attempt. Watch McCaskill, watch Goldman.
It is just unquestionable at this point that that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
A lot of people have tried to draw similarities between.
Eliminated. He has to be eliminated, but they don't think that that was potentially one of the things that threw this guy off. Eliminated. Eliminated. Like, what does eliminated mean? Can somebody please tell me, if I'm going to eliminate something, what are we doing? Like, when you eliminate something, what is it? What does that mean? Let me know in the comment section below what the word eliminated mean. Please tell me.
Mussolini and Hitler, and the use of the terminology like vermin, and the drive that those men had towards autocracy and dictatorship. The difference, though, I think makes Donald Trump even more dangerous, and that is he has no philosophy he believes in.
More dangerous than Hitler. That's wild. And they honestly don't think that nothing that they've said, the Democrats, they don't, former Democratic Senator Trump more dangerous than Hitler. It says it right there. But they don't think any of that kind of rhetoric contributed to this man almost being killed twice. And then the other guy couldn't even call him by his name. Or former president. He said, that man. Wow. I'm black. If you from black culture, when somebody got beef with a guy and they be like, that man, come on. That's wild to me. I'm going to show you the difference between the two would-be assassins and what each assassination attempt had in common. So let's get to it. Here is what they have so far on this guy.
That's Ryan Wesley Routh, the man suspected of trying to assassinate President Trump.
I'm looking for revolutionaries. Whatever people want to take this whole system down.
The 58-year-old is on the campus at Harvard University in 2022, trying to recruit volunteers to fight in Ukraine.
Walk straight back!
Now a profile is emerging of a man obsessed with firearms and the war in Ukraine. He has a record 74 arrests for firearms, explosives, and other offenses. In 2002, he fled cops after he was pulled over for driving without a license and barricaded himself in his office for 3 hours with a machine gun in his hometown of Greensboro, North Carolina.
Why is this guy out on the street? Like, why? Okay, no, somebody explain that to me. Explosives, arrested 74 times on firearm offenses. Now, if this was a black person, they butts would have been under the jail. But
I know. Tracy Folk was the arresting officer.
When you heard about his recent involvement down in Florida, I mean, what was your reaction?
I was like, holy cow. I mean, I knew who he was immediately.
Could you believe somebody who has had so many run-ins with law enforcement was able to be free, get a gun, and go down there?
It's crazy.
Routh is twice divorced and has 3 adult children. He told a federal magistrate at his arraignment today that he earns $3,000 a month working as a roofer, but owns no assets other than a used truck valued at $1,000. His son Oren posted, "He is a loving and caring father. It doesn't sound like the man I know to do anything crazy, much less violent." Routh tried to enlist in the International Legion of Foreign Fighters in Ukraine, but was considered too old.
We need 100,000 people here fighting.
Instead, he became a recruiter. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams was in contact with Routh for more than a year.
Ryan Routh seemed very sincere, but at times, perhaps somewhat naive. At one point, he even sent me an audio track of a song.
Naive. So she said it, naive. He seemed naive. So don't you think like that kind of rhetoric that the Democrats are spewing, you don't think that could have threw this guy off? Oh, Trump's Hitler. Oh, Trump's a threat to democracy. We got to protect democracy. Who caused the war in Ukraine? The Democrats. So I want to fight in Ukraine. Let me do something to Trump then. Let me take out this threat that this administration that I love so much is saying. Let me help them out. I can see something like that. But this is me. I don't know. But
he'd apparently recorded about the carnage caused by the war in Ukraine.
We all have heard, we have all watched the news and the media. The thing that's in common with both assassination attempts is that the Secret Service, they dropped the ball, and they continue to drop the ball. And I don't think it's okay. To me, there's something more sinister at hand when it comes to why the Secret Service is just dropping the ball in such a bad way.
Secret Service is under scrutiny, with questions being raised about whether the agency is doing enough to keep the former president safe. Our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, has more. Good morning, Pierre.
Michael, good morning. With 2 potential assassination attempts in 9 weeks in such a challenging threat environment, the Secret Service is under its most intense pressure in decades.
Our folks are rising to this moment.
This morning, the U.S. government is facing a critical question and perhaps the most dangerous threat environment since 9/11. Does the Secret Service have enough? With this blunt assessment from President Biden.
Service needs more help.
Biden calling on Congress to do more as the agency deals with the threat of domestic terror, a surge in threats of political violence, and a resurgence of ISIS and al-Qaeda in the wake of the Israeli-Hamas conflict.
I think the Congress should respond to their needs if they, in fact, need more services.
In the wake of security failures in the attack against Trump at that Pennsylvania rally, the Secret Service has expanded Trump's SWAT team and made other security enhancements, but the congressional scrutiny remains intense.
If the Secret Service is in need of more resources, we are prepared to providing it for them, possibly in the upcoming funding agreement.
Even with bipartisan calls to give the Secret Service what it needs, the political environment is heated. President Trump on Monday was blaming the Biden administration for the recent plots against him. Acting Secret Service director tried to calm the political waters, saying the White House is trying to give him everything he needs.
President Biden made it clear that he wanted the highest levels of protection for former President Trump.
All right, so I'm not saying that the Secret Service they're responsible for these 2 assassination attempts, but they kind of are responsible because your job is to protect the president of the United States. Who's in charge of the Secret Service? Who governs the Secret Service? Well, let's do what we always do and do a little research. Let's see who governs the Secret Service. Governs the Secret Service. The United States Secret Service is governed by the President of the United States and the Secretary of Homeland Security. President appoints and directs the U.S. Secret Service, who serves at the President's pleasure and is not as subject to Senate confirmation. The president also determines which events are considered special events of national significance and requires the U.S. Secret Service to participate in their security planning. There you have it. The President of the United States governs their Secret Service, and I don't have much to say about that. I'll let you guys decide what you want to do with that information. I don't know. I'm just out here trying to bring some light to certain things. I just feel like the Secret Service has been dropping the ball. I feel like the current administration has been encouraging this kind of behavior, intentionally or unintentionally. I feel like this has some issues. This has some kind of correlation. But that is my time today. Thank you guys for tuning in to Quality TV. I'm your host, Qua. And until next time, peace, love, and fish grease. I'll see you guys on the next video.